My name is Bina D'Costa. I'm a fellow and the director of studies at the Department of International Relations. In my work, I focus on peace and conflict research and human rights issues. I've been working for quite a long time, at least for over the last decade or so, in the areas of transitional justice and human rights. I started it at the beginning looking at gender justice, questions of war crimes and genocide, and how women experience conflict, and what are their experiences in conflict zones, and how they deal with it in the aftermath of conflict. From that work, currently what I have done is that I also looked at issues of children and violence, and how children deal with conflict. Through those book projects, I have also now narrowed it down to the third identity group. So I look at issues of forced migration and refugees, how refugees deal with conflict. And in particular, in terms of refugees, what I do is that groups who go away, who are forced to flee their home, what are some of those resilience techniques they use? What kind of networks they use to inform each other, which borders open, how they move from one side to the other, and what are some of those ways, new livelihood strategies they use. So in my current work, following from gender and following from children, in my current work, what I'm doing is looking at forced migration and resilience. In international relations, new generation of academics and authors and others who are also commentators of international politics, what they're actually talking a lot about is that we need to think about identity conflicts, we need to think about people, and we need to think about also critical issues that shape and frame our ideas and our thoughts. We know that borders and boundaries are fluid. We have learned it from geographers, we have learned it from anthropologists and sociologists. But in many ways, in international relations, we think of borders and boundaries as really fixed kind of entities. And what it does is that our policymakers, when they're thinking about refugees, when they're thinking about stateless people and displaced population, they often also think about those population as those ones who don't belong. So I think in international relations, we really need to actually have more in-depth understanding of how can we think about forced migration in ways that policymakers actually understand that how important it is in this interconnected and increasingly global world that how we depend on each other. I've really wanted to study international relations. If I say that, it would not be actually entirely correct. Sort of through accident or by accident, I have ended up actually being in the discipline of international relations and also ended up being in academia. I come from a region which is known to others as South Asia, and my family is a partition family. My parents were born in India, and by the time I was born, the country became Pakistan and then later Bangladesh. So the way states actually form, histories, ideas, colonized projects, they also shape our identities. But what happened in South Asia is that often a lot of students were really scared and nervous about studying about international politics. They've gone to anthropology, sociology, economics, and later on to law, but not so many times in international relations. By the time I started studying international relations in Bangladesh, actually it was not very developed, but what many of the students of that time we wanted to know is that how ideas are formed and how they influence policy in the global north, and what do they do in terms of global south. So from that kind of intense curiosity, I started looking more and more into the discipline in international relations and realized what amazing potential the discipline actually offers us if we want to change, if we want to transform the society we live in, if we want to influence ideas. So international relations to me provides an amazingly important platform through which we can think about human rights, we can think about justice, and we can also think about politics on the ground, bottom up politics. So that's why I think international relations is a tremendously important discipline for us, and it offers a lot of hope for the future.